That's right, True Scaper. And
All right. Bro, that is entirely my bad.
No, you're good.
I
had nothing going on. I wasn't like, I just caught up on Dexter.
still completely lost track of everything because I recorded so much shit yesterday that I came into today thinking, wow, I really don't have to record a thing. This is a really, really weird feeling. And I don't like it. So I started like freaking out over everything. And like overthinking everything for a good half a day.
Dang.
My own worst enemy is time. Free time on my hands is never a good thing.
Fair.
How you been though?
Pretty good. I got it looks like there's 3 positions for this job I want, and only 2 people applied. So it's an army job, but it'll hold me through till police would start. Like literally day up to police, the orders would then end.
That's
so
good.
It'd be the perfect job. But we closed on that house.
Okay.
Now.
So it's official.
So,
congratulations, home ownership for the first time.
Yep. And my parents are moving like to the neighborhood across the road. That in their neighborhood, bro, it's crazy. It's gonna have a splash pad, a pool, a workout clubhouse, like with full weight sets. Like it's nice.
So you can just go use all their shit rather than paying for a gym because they're there.
Yep. Every house there's like 450 starting plus. Like it's a pretty crazy neighborhood for Indiana, like especially. Most of the houses are like 600s. The HOA is 1,000 a year. It's like insane.
Oh, that's not bad. That's a low HOA. My God.
I might be wrong then. I don't know. I've looked at so many HOA numbers. I know when they said the HOA number, I went, oh, but it might be 1,000 actually. I don't know.
1,000 a year is not terrible at all.
I think I can't remember because it's enough to keep all that stuff maintained.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, that makes sense.
A lot. Because they have like gym. Oh, they're doing pickleball too. And basketball court and a playground. With the splash pad and the pool and the workout equipment. So hopefully my dad gets there sooner rather than later. He wants to get the deal he wants, you know. Yep. He's a dad, so he sits there and he's like, I'm not taking, like they offered him one plot and he said, I didn't want that plot, I want that plot. And they're like, why do you care about the plot of land? And he's like, because I wanna. And he just won't budge and it's pissing the guy off. But it is like the plot he wants is near the pond and near the stuff he wants to do. And they're trying to just put him on this random plot. And I'm like, how much does it cost you guys to just put him there?
Yep.
I'm like, just give the man what he wants. But they want to put him in a home they've already built and haven't sold. But he wants to build his house and pick what's in it.
Yeah.
So they're throwing a hissy fit with him. And I'm like, brother, you're getting like 400 something grand from him. Just
shut up and do it. Yeah.
Yeah. But
wild.
Silly business.
I'll never know. I'm never gonna know home ownership in this area. It's just not gonna happen.
You stand a chance?
No, I don't. No, I don't at all. Bro, I've been. You're not on TikTok, so you don't know. But there is a couple going through it today. Basically, there's this guy that does content on TikTok where he like reviews couples' financial situations, and like talks them through it and like how to like get out of it and figure it out. This guy works out in Texas in the oil fields, makes like 120K. Girl, I have no clue how much she makes, if she makes anything. She has I say she for a reason. She has racked them up $100,000 of debt. They own a home already, and she's trying to pull out a mortgage to buy a $700,000 home in West Palm Beach in addition to what they currently own. She spent like 10, 15 grand on a boob job, on getting a new laptop, you name it. He went and bought a backup generator for their house because he was worried about their house in a storm, and she flipped shit that he was spending too much.
Oh no.
I was like, dude, run.
Leave.
And everybody in the comments is amazed. They're like, how have you not divorced her yet? How have you like this is literally financial abuse. And I have no like I don't know if maybe like I don't know the terms of like their like if he doesn't have a prenup, does he get stuck with like the debt? Like, if she doesn't work, from the sounds of it, she really doesn't, or like doesn't make anywhere near as much as he does in that situation. Like, does he get stuck with the debt? And would divorcing her, like, would he not be able to afford the payments of everything on that? Therefore, he goes and has to declare bankruptcy. Like, what happens there? But everybody's losing their minds. It's like, dude, how are you still with her?
Yeah, just leave, bro.
And he's sitting there, like, basically, like on the verge of tears. You could tell he loves her. But she just does not respect him, nor respect the situation at all. It's like, bro, this shit's wild.
Yeah, I mean, leaving, though, is, like, easy on paper, impossible to actually do, I feel like. Well, sometimes you feel that way.
The thing, though, now is he has the entire internet on his side. So, like, no matter what happens here, like, because all of this was done on camera, their full financials were put out there in front of everybody. Like, he's got like I promise you, there will be financial planners, lawyers, everybody else that will reach out and just say like, hey, let me use this for like some internet clout. I will make sure you get out of this situation.
Because what they really probably need is like couples therapy. Maybe
no,
therapy.
No, dude. I'm telling you, there's no fixing that.
Just too broke.
You'd have to see the videos. Like, it is just a mentality.
No, I believe you. I just mean that sucks when you're beyond couples therapy. Like that, if you're in his position and you haven't done it yet, so hard to leave somebody you genuinely love without trying. Fair. But that's even gonna break him harder because if you're going into couples therapy with the knowledge this is probably going to fail, and you're delaying the inevitable.
Yeah.
The therapist slowly drag out the real person of them, and you realizing, wow, they just really suck and they refuse to change. Like, then it's like, oh man, that's so tragic.
For his own,
he makes plenty of money.
I mean, I make 6 figures, but I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say that we're in the best financial position. Like, it just
but he's in Texas.
True, he is in Texas.
Like, depending on where you go, you can easily up your commute and find affordable housing in Texas. It's not too hard.
Yeah. I don't know.
Unless he's in like, because I mean, he may have to. The problem would be if he did that, you may have to go like 30 minutes west. So now to get to the only big city with good shopping, it's an hour east, and your job's in the middle of that. But that's just how life is. Like, Texas is so big, and there's so much opportunity there, like in land. It's very possible to do that.
Regardless,
I mean, he's gonna have to live broke for 2 years after this divorce.
Bro, this is like, we're talking that's generational debt. 100K, that's generational.
Well, if he makes 120 a year.
True. Now, I mean, maybe he could. Yeah.
Now I'm gonna tell him the worst advice ever, but this is coming from a military man. You need to eat nothing. Eat one meal a day and tell people you're intermittent fasting, and that's what you do. You just go to like a fast food place, or you go to the store and you just buy like the most amount of calories you can get per dollar.
Yep.
And then you just scarf down crappy processed food for a year, but work out to try to offset it, and it's over.
Yeah, because I guess they own their home, so they're probably not paying anything other than like property taxes and.
Oh, they own it?
Yeah, that's why she was asking. She was asking to pull out a mortgage on a second home in Florida for $700K.
Well, can't they just sell the house they own to pay
She
off the
wants
debts in
she
the
wants a
divorce?
second home.
I get that, but I'm saying in the divorce he's good, right?
Oh, and a divorce. I mean, he should be fine, I guess. But
Yeah,
like,
use the house to pay off the debt
I mean, realistically, he
and
could,
move on.
without her being there and without her being a problem, he could probably pay off that debt in a year, give or
Yeah, he
take,
could just eat half the debt, like split the debt 50-50 with her, pay off your half,
in a year,
like
easy.
living in
Yeah.
your house. Because he'll probably get to keep the house if he takes. I don't know how any of that works. I'm lying. I'm talking out of my butthole right now. I'll stop.
Oh God.
What he
But
really needs to do, because he's in Texas, go to Border Patrol. No, get a job there.
he's
Take the
already, dude. He's
stipend.
in the oil
Pay the
field. He's
debt
not
with
going
the
to get any
stipend.
better than that.
Bro, Border Patrol was offering me. No, they don't pay, no joke, bro. They offer you like a fat base salary and a stipend on top of it. Yeah, I don't know if it's more than 120 to be honest, but I know like the taxes are better with it because
Yeah, you're in Texas.
stipends are taxed differently.
Oh, true.
So it was
Yeah.
pretty nice what they were offering because they're government, so they're trying to work around the taxes to get you to stay in. But
Yeah.
it doesn't even matter. He'll get out of it. He makes
Yeah.
120 a year, bro.
He'll find a
Put
way.
your nose to the grindstone, get addicted to alcohol for a year. You'll get out of that problem easy. It ain't that hard.
Oy
There's a
vey.
light at the end of the tunnel.
Oy vey. Anyways, let's get to League. Before we get into C9, I know a lot of chat wants it. I don't want to miss the chance to like briefly reflect on what was an amazing series from FlyQuest and Worlds. I know like always talking about things in hindsight like is less attractive, especially with news currently ongoing. But like, is there anything you want to say on that series other than we look good?
Yeah, I mean, NA basically FlyQuest, I think, like put NA on the right path for the next few years. Like, has now put us in a good place. We're still, because they didn't win it. If they would have won it, I would have said they bought us at least 3 years, regardless of hit or miss results. But not winning it, now we're in a place where next year, I think if we get something like that again or something minutely better, like we're really set up to go crazy. And it looks like they could do that.
I think we have to prove ourselves next year, for sure. Like
Yeah.
this is like the first step. This was like the Misfits 2017, like getting close to beating T1. Next year has to be. I'm not saying finals, but I think you have to try and reach semis next year. I think
Yep.
that's now like the expectation of like you got to be able to win a series when need be, and
Yep.
we got to be able to get out of Swiss, assuming we play an Eastern team. You got to be able to get out by beating an Eastern team. Like that's got to be the level of expectation now for North America in order for us to keep building. If we want this shit to, because look, you can't fail on the international stage forever. It ain't gonna work. Like as much as we want to say that domestic results matter, we're now moving to a 3 international tournament system.
Yep.
You have to start stepping up on the international stage. And it
It is
seems
a
like
big
we're
deal.
finally taking the right steps. I don't know if C9 is, but I think like everybody else is taking the right steps.
It's, I think for them, oh no. Sorry.
You're good.
I noticed my Pacers BOGO. They just sent me the text for it because the Pacers win, you get a free sub at Penn Station. The wrong date is on it. I hope I can argue that with the worker, but it doesn't matter.
Should be
My
able
bad.
to.
That was off topic. We're talking about NA saving itself, not me getting a free sub for a Pacers win.
Yeah.
But I think it is like a big deal. If they can show up next year, somebody, doesn't really matter who, can play just as well as that. Step up. We know Masu, like you said, is going to push people and he's going to make the league overall better. Where it looks like we're keeping Berserkers somewhere
I have no
in
clue.
NA.
Nobody has said a word on it.
Yeah. I mean, keeping him to me is priority number one for the region.
Yeah.
Like, I think the whole region should be like losing their minds at making sure he's here
Shopify
by the
should
end.
be eyeing them. No. because
I
they
know
got
they are.
because
It's
they.
you guys in Shopify are
But
the
I don't
ones
know if we
really
can. Is the thing
can't
you
afford
like?
them.
Not that you need a green card somewhere. You either need River,
Yeah,
you need reserve,
that's
you need
true.
River or Berserker to get a green card.
Yeah,
And if they don't, then my eyes go to Shopify. You go Fudge, Contracts, Niski, Berserker, and then whoever Berserker wants is support. Has to be
yeah, that
has to be native because Niski is EU.
that team is so weird to me.
What
I
Shopify?
don't like it. Yeah,
It
I
feels
don't
very
like.
disjointed. But I think that's the nature of like having five brand new players when you don't know how they're going to interact from each other.
Yeah, I just think Niski makes them overall, like mechanically speaking, that team from how they showed last year looks tough outside of Berserker.
I mean,
Contracts I get could play up, but Fudge and Niski weren't really on like in
no, but
terrible.
Niski does a good job of buffing up his junglers.
He
So I
does.
I could see a world where him and Contracts actually
Could gel,
step up a
yeah.
little bit. Fudge is definitely a big question mark. No doubt about that. And
Yeah,
then
Niski mechanically last season did not look good in EU.
no. No.
Not good. And EU mids didn't look as good as NA mids to me. Overall.
Yeah. We have no news
Like
on Dignitas, by the way, from what I've seen.
yeah,
We have
they're
no fucking. The
completely
only thing we
apart.
know is that they're allowing Surdy to explore his options, but then beyond or not
Licorice.
Licorice to explore his
Yeah.
options. But then if I go beyond that, they lost Sven to C9.
Yep.
Spica is reportedly looking at Giant X in Europe.
Yep.
Isles,
They probably don't
I
want to
don't
keep
know,
him.
and Jensen, I feel like you're trolling.
Yeah, they're not going with Jensen, I wouldn't think.
I don't know. So
I mean,
like nobody has any clue what's going on with Dignitas. We have no clue what's going on with that guest slot either. So it's like two rosters that are just like completely in limbo.
yeah, and you don't know who is going to be taken by the LLA team.
I mean, I'm assuming it's just gonna be LLA guys.
Well, they could try to take some other positions though.
They could.
And TL still needs a new jungler if they want to be competitive. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
I think they'll import. Like
Yeah, they
that's.
gotta.
I'm not worried about like TL because they have
Well,
their
I
pick of
just
the
mean
litter.
that changes. That changes. Umti being available. I'm sure some suckers will want to take him of the lower teams. Like
Yeah.
I don't know why. Like he's clearly the worst player on that roster.
Many people would
Somebody.
argue APA. Monte Cristo specifically tried to get APA kicked from that team.
Why?
I don't know.
How do you look at that team and say it's APA's fault?
I mean, he did have a bummer Worlds. I will say that. Like he
He
didn't
did
perform.
much better than Impact was doing. I don't even know what
Yeah.
Impact was even trying to do.
Yep.
Honestly, if it wasn't Impact, I think that kind of performance would have got a guy replaced.
Yeah.
Like for TL, with TL standards and how they usually operate, if it wasn't Impact, they would have cut him and found a new top.
If it was C9, APA would have been cut.
Well, yeah, they cut a mid laner every year, sometimes two.
Speaking of that, adjacent, if you want to join the call and put your argument out there for 8 mids in 5 years, join a voice channel. I'll bring you right in because I'm ready to have this debate head on.
Forset wants to argue with you too. You want me to drag him in?
What?
Forset wants to argue with you too.
Bring in Forrest. We'll talk to Forrest, and then I'll bring adjacent in afterwards.
Okay.
This is my.
Oh, I got moved
I
in.
forgot he has this.
My bad.
That's
me-
hilarious.
Let me mute the stream real quick.
That's so awesome.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Howdy.
All right,
Argue away, brother.
go ahead. Give me
Alright.
give me your
Oh.
reason as to why C9 doesn't suck ass this offseason.
C9 is going to be a top 3 team.
Wow, you
Next
moved
year.
up one spot. Congratulations. Awesome.
No, David. No, David. You don't understand. You don't understand. I'm putting them at 2, maybe even 1.
How?
How? Okay, have you seen the stats from Loki in his
Yeah,
in his
yeah, and
season?
I saw Quid stats, and you saw how he did his first split.
Sure. Yeah, I mean that's valid there, but C9 has been good with rookies. Look at Berserker
I
when he came in. Look at Fudge his first year.
Berserker is a completely different caliber of player than Loki is. Fudge was terrible his first
Fudge
split.
would.
He
Did
stepped
you
up
see him?
internationally. He stepped up at MSI. Sure, I will give you that. But domestically, no. He got carried over the finish line in spring.
And then he stepped up though.
And the only reason that they went to MSI is because Santorum was having migraine issues and could not play.
Oh
So
come
so
on.
personally missed me with the
Okay.
he
The,
played.
the only reason 100 Thieves made international was because C9 shit the bed.
We made it. You didn't. I don't give a
And
fuck.
we
What do you want to
and
call
we
it?
made it over TL. So it's
Hey, fair. You know what? Fair counterpoint there. But I will look. I'm not. What does him going in do to solve the problems you guys have already had?
So that doesn't. To be honest, no, that doesn't solve the issues. I think Sven solves that issue. The main issue with C9 last year wasn't mechanics. It wasn't the team itself. It was coherency and it was shot calling. And I think Sven adds that level there. Every year that Sven has been on that roster, they have been good.
I will agree with that. But I also think that you can't play through bot lane.
No, you can't. And I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to play through mid jungle.
Look, if that happens, then I'm fine with it. Like I will straight up say that I am perfectly fine with that. Let me make this full screen because sorry, this screen is. I just realized I'm basically cutting Paul off in the corner. He's just sitting there.
You can cut me off for it.
No.
I'll be in the cuck chair.
No. But
it is. I am not personally. I already told him. I think it's a decent grab, but there's way too little info on this guy. He doesn't have anything really to go off of if he's good or not, other than like C9 saying trust the system, which hasn't worked.
The systems, right? Yeah.
Which hasn't worked lately.
No.
Okay, so, and that's fair. But he's 19-3 with his top 3 champs with an 18.9 KDA. He's averaging over 600 damage per minute.
Okay.
Like, he's doing really good in where he's playing.
It's also Korea. And I'm sorry, but like we have seen the overwhelming majority of Korean imports that we've brought in as of late don't last all that long, or the culture shock for whatever reason just doesn't work out.
Sure.
Quid being for now the longest. Like Berserker worked out, but obviously there's been some issues there. Quid is luckily still worked out.
Right.
Still can't join. Am I captain?
You gotta tell Dave one of his favorite things ever to hear. He's gonna love this. What? Where did the guy place in regular season and where did he place in playoffs? Dave's gonna eat this up as a narrative.
Okay. So he placed. They placed second in regular season and fourth in playoffs.
That is your favorite stuff. When the pressure builds, where they place.
Right. But he is young. I think C9 have a really good piece to build around, and I think it's going to elevate them. I think JoJo, as much as I love JoJo, I think he's a mechanical god, right? I mean, as he's shown in the past with EG, I think he's not as good as he was on EG. I think he has a lot of issues just surrounding him as a player, like as a person. And I think that just he destroyed what little coherency that C9 had left.
Sure. I made the case to Healy earlier in call that if you have this roster, pretty much sack bot lane, Sven is on utility ADCs the entire time, and just allow Blabber, if Blabber wants to play selfishly, he can. If he wants to, pass it off to his mid and top, go right ahead, that's fine. It can click. I can look, I will always find a way to make it work in my head.
Right.
But when I'm sitting here being realistic and I'm saying, okay, is that enough to make up for the fact that 100 Thieves is still building? Is still like we have seen maybe the middle ground at best for them. Sniper has a lot of growth to do and is already towards the top of the league. Quid, we've seen his peak. He struggles with some mental in some situations, especially when he gets into high pressure moments. But second time he comes in those situations, he improves. We don't know what the bot lane for 100 Thieves looks like, but it cannot possibly get any worse. And that's not saying that it was bad. It was good enough to get us the Worlds. I'm saying like it cannot, like, it will not go below a certain level.
Right.
So like when I look at that, and we were already ahead of C9, I'm looking at that thinking, why would I ever put C9 above 100 Thieves? Like, I get your point of like how things can work out, but it's like, okay, that's fine. But it's not like FlyQuest is going to get better with time. They're going to gel and they're going to continue to get better. TL, I'm assuming, is going to make an upgrade in jungle, and they will continue to improve. Like, it's not like we're dealing with like the teams at the top just stay still and C9 gets to catch up. Everybody's still improving.
Sure. And that's a really valid point. But you are also basing this off of Sniper getting better, because let's not beat around the bush here. He did not play well in playoffs. Like, he wasn't that guy.
I would agree. Like, his best of one performance in spring is going to leave like this insanely high ceiling. People figured him out, and now he's going to, like, time will get better. Like, there's no denying, I think we can all, for the most part, agree, he's got the best individual hands of any top laner in the league in the LCS right now. Just because he doesn't put it all together in the game and his macro is terrible.
I'd argue Thanatos has the best hands.
I'll be willing to entertain Thanatos. But like beyond that, it's the two of them in terms of like raw skill that it's just a matter of whether they can get the macro and have the team around them.
Right. But that's fair though. But we have two, I mean, let's be honest here, young rosters with, with their building pieces here.
Fair.
With, Loki's 19 years old, right? I mean, he's young.
Yep.
We have Thanatos, who wasn't he rookie of the split in DK, right? Top laner?
Maybe. I have no clue.
He was a really good top laner, one of the highest touted talents, right? Berserker seemed checked out that last year, so I'm just riding Berserker.
A dude doesn't get checked out if he's slamming his head against a wall because he's so pissed off that his teammate won't practice right. That's not checked out.
No, but that is checked out though. Like, that team just didn't feel like they were playing as a team, right? So last year he wasn't playing up to Berserker level. He wasn't that guy last year, and that's circumstances around him. I don't blame it on him. I still think he's probably the best raw AD carry in our region. Let's hope he stays, right? But I think overall, Sven, he's not going to be the big mechanical god. Yeah. We don't need him to be, though.
Fair.
We don't need a winning bot lane every single game. We need someone to be stable, and let's not joke around here. Sven played decently in Dig. He wasn't a bad AD carry.
Paul, I'll let you tackle that one.
Yeah. Well, I've already said I think he wasn't bad, but I don't think he was that great either.
And in a world,
he was with Isles. I get Isles isn't great, but has Vulcan really fixed anybody lately, or made anybody play above their potential? I don't think Vulcan really has.
No,
and and everybody's saying Sven's gonna come in and shot call for the team, but that tells me if you're playing as Sven to shot call for the team, you're like purposefully building a stupid kind of team.
Well, no, because again, Sven isn't a bad player.
Yeah, but your ADC should never inherently be your shot caller.
No,
ever.
Some of them have been lately. I know, like, some people have been talking about ADC's shot call in certain teams. I am not of the mind that I think it's the greatest thing in the world.
That's because you play with me.
Do it. Well, it's also G2 has Hansama do it, I know. Right. And they love that. But then you got to think, was that important to G2? And was he really that big of a shot calling piece because they tried to trade him to other people and $1 million for one person?
I don't think that's more of an indictment on Hans and more of just how good they think Kalista is.
Possibly,
right?
Yeah.
That's
true.
But also they think they can move on from him and still shot call perfectly well. So it tells me they are fine with their voices. And C9 is dragging in ADCs to shot call with Korean top and mids. That seems really rough.
Sven has always been that guy, though. Like, throughout his career, he elevates his teams. Look at when he came to TSM, they immediately got better. First time on C9, immediately
Well, he
got
also
better.
lost TSM that finals. Let's not joke around here. Come on now.
Well, yeah,
I watched that.
Yeah,
I watched
so did
that
I.
live.
But he makes
literally
them
was the
better,
reason
right?
we lost.
That the point is the point isn't getting over the hump. It's that they make him better. And I think the pieces.
He did not make us better. We
TSM?
got rid of double lift for the best bot lane in the West, and what happened?
He lost in the finals. You know,
in the second year, because
Yeah,
the first year
the
went really
second year.
fucking bad.
When we held him hostage, he got better.
TSM work ethic at its finest.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Hey, don't worry. Apparently, we're on our TSM arc, right? So.
Oh no, I'm saving that part for when Adjust comes in. I'm saving that.
Okay.
That I can't wait to get into.
I genuinely do think this mid pick is going to play out, though. I think we have gotten the stud.
Good.
I still need to see the eye test because I haven't seen his gameplay. I'm just going off of stats. So again, take that with a grain of salt. But from a stat standpoint, he looks incredibly good. He has like just under a 70% KPAR, right? That's really fucking good.
Yeah.
For a mid laner.
Look, I'm not going to deny that he's good. My biggest thing and my final conclusion on this roster is the same thing I said from the jump, which is it is not enough to get on FlyQuest or TL's level, even at its peak.
I disagree. I think it's. I agree with FlyQuest. I think FlyQuest are on another level right now.
Assuming everybody is performing, because if you're under the assumption that C9 is able to hit their peak, you have to assume that FlyQuest and TL will hit their peak.
Sure.
I do not think either of these, either you guys nor us, even if we got Berserker and some cracked ADC, none of us are going to hit our ceiling to the point where FlyQuest and TL are within spitting distance unless they collapse, which is always possible and always happens in the LCS.
I think TL, I don't think TL is it. I think they are a meta merchant team who is going to drop out of top 3 contention if they do not get rid of Umpty.
But I think I respect Spawn as a coach too much to say that if he thinks that they are meta, like he can see the signs. He has done a good job at that. If he decides to make a change, then yes, we should all be able to read in and say, yes, they were meta merchants and there is something that needs to happen. If he does not and he sticks it out, it's going to be a real indication on his coaching at that point because you are claiming that you are going to fix the problems, to which I would say I have faith in it. Then maybe that speaks to his caliber of coaching. But again, we're getting into real hypotheticals into the future.
C9 is sticking with Reaper, right?
Yes.
Correct.
So far.
And they brought an arrow in.
Yeah.
There's not a lot to tell you. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I know Dave's not going to speak ill will. He's friends. But I'm allowed to say what I want on this, luckily. So I can say, okay, good luck with that. I mean, it seems to be working. C9 might leave the league soon. I might want to watch it there. But it's definitely one of those things where it's like, I think they've done good. Like, legitimately, though, with the Narrow, it does help with their management side. And probably with their coaching side, I would think, because the Narrow does add things. But also, I don't know how much Narrow can do for the 2 younger Koreans coming in. I have no idea what he has in place for that. I know Reaper can do some, but I have no clue where Reaper's at in his career of coaching level, because we know his peak and we know his valley. And both of them are far-reaching.
You can't tell me that draft in playoffs was not a Reaper draft to the fullest.
It was tough.
It doesn't fit my narrative right now, but I don't actually like the Reaper pickup. I don't like him as a coach. I love him as our history. But...
I love it. This is like when I was talking with him before you came in, Dave. He was talking about the Spurs. And I said, honestly, I get a lot of hate for this, but I've thought Pop has been washed for a while. Because the Spurs haven't done anything in it forever. And he was like, yeah, but we were good. And I was like, when? And he was like, good mid-2010s? 2010s? And I was like, bro, we're in the mid-2020s.
we can be quiet. All right. I'll leave it off so you can drag a Jason in. C9 first place. Fuck 100 Thieves, and have a great day.
I'm glad that this rivalry is starting to pick up. I like this. This is too much fun.
All right, good luck, boys.
Thank you, man. Thank you for the sub, by the way.
Oh, of course.
And
Oh.
that's a good point somebody made. We didn't even mention quad. Like, you gotta compete with quad. You gotta compete with APA, who I know some people think sucks, but I mean, brother, I don't know how you can think he's that bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I do not know. But before we drag Adjust in here, is there anything that we want to cover real quick in like a minute or two before like this really goes into like a full C9 org side thing? Because that's what this is about to turn into.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing really for Worlds that we need to say much left because it's all Eastern teams at this point, and if somebody wants Eastern team breakdowns,
Go
they
watch.
can probably watch something else. Yeah, that's not what we do.
We might talk about it at the end, but just so everybody's aware, I'm going to be on vacation next week. I will not be here, so there is no podcast from now until the time that finals happens. So that's why I'm not going to focus on it all that much. I'm just going to enjoy Worlds for what it is for this final 2 weeks. The little bit that I will be able to watch it, and as I mentioned last week, if anybody in Miami is throwing a Worlds watch party, I'll be there. You tell me where, I will show up. I'll find a way.
I've had somebody's got to be running something.
You would think. I mean, we saw the New York City thing is sold out. G2's announcing their event. Fucking
I don't know how
soon.
big Miami is though.
Miami's pretty big. It's in GTA 6. What do you mean?
True. There's what? That's not that big. What?
What, 3 million?
460 in the city?
Yeah, that's not. Yeah. But Miami-Dade County. How many are in Miami-Dade?
6.8 in the metro.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
They got some size.
They got girth.
6.18, my bad.
They got girth is what they got.
Yeah. 6 mil people, you might be able to find something gaming related.
Should, maybe. We'll see.
And if not, who cares? You're in Miami.
Exactly.
Watch it on the beach.
Let's get oh wait.
Right,
Whoops. I didn't mean to try to hit again.
It still plays though. That's so good.
I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry, force it. Oh god. Didn't mean to do that. Adjust. How's it going, man?
You can just call me Chris, not Jason. It's fine.
Chris? Wait,
Chris.
is that okay?
Okay.
This might be a real hot. Is that a Popeyes chicken sandwich?
I believe actually it is. Yes. I mean, people were literally willing to murder each other over it when it first came out, so I figured it's worthy of a icon. You know.
I am a god. I know my chicken
That's
sandwiches.
a good icon. That's a tiny icon too. Well, you might have a bigger icon because of the call, but
Somewhat, but I know the bun. I know the chicken around it. I can tell like the
Bun.
slaw a little bit on the top. Like
that's
I
great.
appreciate my chicken sandwiches.
I like that. You know. I mean, yeah, I think it's better than a burger. I mean, just
Ah.
it is much less messy.
The peak of a burger is higher than the peak of a chicken sandwich, but the average of a chicken sandwich is higher than the average of a burger.
I would grant you that, but I'm assuming I haven't had the peak of a like. It's got to be like something from like Japan, like Wagyu beef.
Ooh.
You know, like
Cut.
You ever had a peak of a burger in America?
yeah. Well, I guess so. Yeah.
All right, everybody, this is my pro tip to all of chat. Next time you come to New York City, go to a restaurant called Emily. Order the Grammy.
Biased?
Like your
A little
way.
biased?
It is rated for best bang for your buck. Like it's a $27 burger, but it is the
That's
best.
good though.
Oh, dude, it's the best burger I've had in New York City.
Is that in Manhattan or?
It is in Manhattan. It is down in the West Village.
I made like a promise myself, like next time I go to New York, I'm not spending any time in Manhattan. I never give the other boroughs any love, and I need to see them.
I mean, I'm sure there are great spots all around New York City.
You know
So
what I mean.
I don't want to discourage. Like Brooklyn's got some pretty fucking great stuff out there, but like
I want to spend like a day in Flushing, actually, just like experience all the good food there.
Flushing is interesting, I will say. I go out to not Sheep Meadow, Jesus Christ. I go out to Flushing Meadow every Sunday to teach golf,
okay.
and you get to walk through like downtown Main Street. It's wild.
Yeah. My partner is Taiwanese American. I speak Mandarin. I actually speak Mandarin a little bit too.
Okay, so you can walk through the main drag and actually know what's going on, unlike me.
A little bit, but yeah.
Okay.
It's like hearing someone talk about you. You recognize bits and words, but that just makes you more confused.
Yeah. So
That's
Brutal.
I need you to defend the C9 honor, the C9 organization.
Oh no, it's not. I wouldn't say it's that intense or anything. It's more just a question of like, first of all, how you got to the number 8. I don't see that. You're saying in 5 years, so that'd be starting with Niski. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it'd be Niski, Perks,
Then Perks.
Fudge, Jensen, Diplex,
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
M&S, Jojo Pyun, and then Loki now.
Right. Okay, yeah. My bad. I missed the Fudge. They don't list that on the.
Yeah, no, I had to look it up too because I was sitting there when I was drawing out the initial list. I was like,
it lists when they got hired, not when they got like assigned to the position. So I missed that.
yeah, I was like, because when I pulled up the list, I was like, okay, we have 4 since 2021. Am I really only getting 6? What am I missing here? I completely forgot about the Jensen Fudge year.
Yeah. I mean, so you're starting through Niski. I mean, I guess the main point of why I was being critical, a little bit critical of you on Twitter, was that it felt like you were sort of assuming that the recruiting, the scouting team was just sort of every single year just saying, fuck this guy, on to the next one. But I think especially if you go through them, there's a lot of kind of tough story. There's either tough stories or just things that changed, especially if you look at Perks, right? Like in his outro video, he mentioned C9 was one of the best orgs he worked for, but after his father passed away and he was about ready to get married to his, at the time, girlfriend, now wife, he was extremely homesick. He was like losing sleep. And he said that Worlds was like one of the most tough, the Worlds where they made it out with a losing record of group stage. He said that was like, he basically gave his all into that LeBlanc game against, was it Rogue?
Yeah, it was Rogue in the tiebreaker.
Yeah, and he and then they got 0-3 stomped in quarterfinals, obviously. But he said it was a great org, and C9 did not want to lose. I mean, they paid a shit ton of money for him, and they agreed to let him break the contract and leave to go home to be with his mom and to be with his girlfriend.
Sure.
So this wasn't them just being like, oh, on to the next flavor of the month. It's.
I agree, but at the same time, let's be real with ourselves. Was Perks ever fully going to stay in NA? Had he not been cucked out of his contract, or had he not been screwed at G2 by not being allowed to go to Fnatic? Did he really want to be in NA?
Right. I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm talking about, your point was C9's recruiting team is disingenuous and rapidly jumping from one flavor of the month to the next.
I don't think they're to be clear, I don't think they're disingenuous. I think that they genuinely believe that they're making the right decision in those moments.
Right, but do you also then claim that they chose to force Perks out, or to in favor of the next best interest?
No, I would have never in a million years brought Perks in for the dollar amount that they paid for him.
Okay, but again, that wasn't your point. Your point was basically just like this constant shift.
No, my point is that it is a shift, because like when you're bringing in players that are at high risk of not staying, like obviously the Perk stuff is like third party, like afterwards. Obviously not under their control. But even prior to that, there was a high likelihood that after 1 year, Perks potentially gets an offer to go somewhere else in Europe and goes. Like even prior to that, the conversations were ongoing at that time of like, does this guy really want to be here? And if you're C9, sure, you're bringing him in, hoping that he stays, hoping that it goes well. But like nobody is sitting there thinking that Perks is the forever mid of C9 going forward. I don't think anybody was, other than C9 fans.
That either. It's still more. I think it's in between, in the middle ground between your point and my point, or your view and my view.
I'd be willing to concede that, yeah.
Certainly, it's not as organic and optimistic as taking a rookie up like they did Blabber. Actually, literally from scouting grounds and bringing him up, as a academy player. So I grant you that, of course, it's not like that. And when it first happened, I was skeptical of it. But also at the same time, Perks was also not like a hop around, chase the money kind of guy. Like he had, despite all the abuse he suffered from Carlos, he had a lot of loyalty to G2 and stayed there for quite a while. And he was also willing to role swap at that org just to help that team win. So this was a guy who was very demonstrated to making sacrifices for his teammates, his peers to achieve a win at all costs. And so
sure.
So I wouldn't say he's like this kind of guy who also would just be like maybe like Bang when he came to 100 Thieves, where no one really knew his true motivations. He seemed a little quiet and reserved. And he was Perks was someone who he literally won in his first split.
Fair. Fair.
And did that during COVID, one of the most difficult times, while being homesick. He
Fair.
gave everything, and he got third place, made it just under the radar. So Worlds, of course, is the third seed, and got out of groups. I think
I will concede that to you, but we were talking about one of the 8, so let's move on to the next.
Yeah, I mean, well, gotta start somewhere, right?
Yeah, no, that's fair.
So who's the next one? Jensen, right?
Fudge.
Oh,
I mean, Fudge.
He left because he didn't want to. I mean, that was LS's idea. We followed the coach's request. He thought, and then at the end of that, Fudge wanted to go back to. I mean, we can't really say, but as much as I know, Fudge.
But you have to penalize C9 for bringing in LS to not having a clear enough understanding of the situation. I mean, that's a really tricky one because we have no clue what the fuck happened. So it's tough, but like you can't the theme that's going to arise here that I can already see is like, yes, none of these were intentionally malicious. Like, we're just going to get rid of the player because we see a better upgrade available. But at some point, whenever you make 20 million small cuts, it adds up. And you can't, independently, you might be able to look at those individual cuts and find, it's a completely reasonable thing or a completely reasonable path as to why they happened. But when you're sitting there left with 20 cuts at the end of the day, you can't just sit there and be like, well, fuck, each of them were individually a problem and it just is what it is. Like, something is wrong somewhere.
Right. But I guess my question is, because C9's struggles are towards the back end, why would you not penalize the? I mean, how much volatility has perhaps TL or FlyQuest had prior to this period of
I made a full video on the volatility of TL and how it was a problem.
Right, exactly. So it's this is not C9 specific issues, and I think TL's issues are probably also not as bad as the community blew them out to be. And I think FlyQuest was doing it from a lower budget. And only recently had the Jose Deodo days, they did actually an admirable job with their lower budget, and only recently got the funds to achieve stability, which they also did rely on established imports for partially.
Agreed. And
did not start well when they got the funds.
What was that?
Last year was a tough start for them coming out the gate with funds.
7th place.
Really bad.
Yep.
Oh, well, no, FlyQuest was even worse. Sorry, I was thinking of TL.
Yeah, I was talking about FlyQuest.
FlyQuest was terrible.
They spent all that money on Prince and Vikla and then just face planted.
I mean, we've talked about it here on the podcast about how FlyQuest, had this year failed too, that's a massive stain to Papa Smithy's legacy. A massive, massive stain. Luckily, they didn't, and it worked out well. But,
he's so goated as a caster. I don't think I could ever stain his legacy personally, but that's just my when I hear his voice, I think League of Legends. So that's just me. But
I just wanted to be clear.
You guys are saying that it's C9. Are you saying C9 scouting, or are you guys saying they're making too many changes? Is it their management?
I'm thinking my diagnosis is that whoever's making the decisions to put the pieces in place over there, whether that's Jack or whether they have a general manager underneath Jack that is handling everything, that person needs to be called into question.
Yeah, I would bet that it's not exactly for the most linchpin person in each decision is probably not exactly the same person. It's not for example, I don't want to skip to M&S, but I think other people might be I think Blabber might be a little bit more tied to the M&S decision, but we can just go to the Fudge thing, because I actually do want to give you credit. You made up a good point that it is a knock against C9, and it's not about Fudge specifically as the mid laner, but your point, they did poorly scout LS as a coach and the concept. And I'm not saying this because I do or do not dislike LS. Prior to C9, I think he was one of my favorite people in the whole scene. I thought he was really innovative, and the way he talked about things was really good. But your point is very accurate, is that they should have scouted him better, not as a bad or a good thing against him, but just C9 knows their systems and they know how LS operates. They should set the two concepts in a room and see, do these harmonize? If yes, hire. If not, no. It seems very obvious that they did not critically think that decision.
And I think the same, that same logic applies to JoJo this past year.
I don't know if that's entirely true, but part of that is me just not being able to be. I tend to really be cautious about not speaking about what I don't know, especially when it comes to players. A lot of these guys are so young, and
That's
I
fair,
remember
but
like 18,
they're also
19.
getting paid $750,000, and
You
we got to
don't-
make some content around it to
No, I
get
know.
the
But if you're paying
conversation
me
going.
$750,000 as a 19-year-old, I wouldn't become more mature just by virtue of getting that much money. I might even become less. I mean,
Oh,
that's just me.
no, I think all of us would become less. Like that is a
Right.
normal
So
thing to happen.
it's hard for me to say, but if you want me to time chronologically, just kind of think about the LS era or the fallout after that. So Fudge returns to his role in top lane, which I think he thrived in. I mean, I think he proved that he was really good on carries. He played like Camille into impacts like Ornn and stuff, and like solo killed him top lane. And that's the year Jensen came back and finally earned his title with C9, which was, as a C9 fan, that was really cool to see. I felt extremely bad for him all those years. We gave him terrible drafts, and couldn't get a win.
And the Jensen one, honestly, I think is like probably the most reasonable, like come and go out of all of them.
He literally chose to leave. He said he left for more money at Dignitas.
Yeah,
Jack wanted him, but it was too expensive. Probably Berserker's contract made it too expensive to keep him, so he left for Dignitas. And then you get next the two forever intertwined people, Diplex and MNS, and it's like it's hard for me to really count this one in my opinion. It seems like MNS was intended to be the starter, and they were just extremely cautious based on and again, this wasn't them going and either getting a young rookie and just hoping he was good, and this also wasn't them just getting like a world champion and just hoping to plug and play. This was like a really interesting and kind of risky decision, and based on, from what I heard from interviews, was like personal conversations between Blabber and MNS, where Blabber, hey man, I heard a lot of horrible shit about you,
which turned out to be true.
Exactly, that's what I mean. But they, in good faith, said maybe this. I mean, a lot of League players have these type of qualities. Perks himself has acted like this at times, he said, but never to the point of like intentionally trying to lose a game or something. But anyway, so based on personal conversations with Blabber, who probably Jack trusts, especially in this scenario, he said, let's see. We were losing Jensen. We did not want to lose Jensen. We expected to be able to keep him if we were hopeful budget wise. So let's bring in maybe a young European player to play in the academy or to be a starter until MNS has shown that he's mature enough. And if not, Diplex. And I think Diplex actually showed he was serviceable but not great. But I thought that was like a relatively
that was that year though that Copy was available, and everybody thought Copy was going to get the nod, and Jack chooses two people over them, which I would argue is probably the most pivotal moment in modern Cloud9.
Right.
Because it was the moment that C9 fans slowly started turning away from the org. And that's not saying all, but sentiment has clearly changed since that moment, where C9 for the longest time.
No. The watershed moment is 100% LS is firing. There is no other bigger moment in C9 history, except for maybe like the end of the sneaky era, but
because it felt like the LS moment was like, okay, you brought in all the LS fans, and then all the LS fans immediately left afterwards, like after he got fired as well, or at least like the majority did. You had some like stranglers around,
right?
Stragglers
but even like the non-LS C9 fans still had like these echoes of like, oh, maybe our drafts just weren't inventive, and we should have had, it's just all these doubts and wondering. And then there's also these like pieces of the LS experiment. There's Berserker's still around. You have just all these other different types of like impacts that they kind of follow, cascading effects that follow on from that. But with the Copy decision, it is certainly a key or like a linchpin moment in like the hindsight is 2020, or maybe not even. Copy did not go on to another team. Any critique of C9 you could also give to every other org that also passed on Copy for whatever different.
I agree. I've been critical of everybody. Like we have both been.
Yeah. So it's just not other players or maybe other orgs looked at him. Are we guaranteeing that these other orgs maybe didn't give him a genuine look and he in tryouts was nervous and didn't?
Maybe, but the point that's being used against me on Twitter is like, oh well, APA was in the TL system, so TL got him. It's like, okay, well, Copy was in the C9 system, so C9 had like.
Right. But again, this positive view of APA as a great academy to pro transition only looks great now after multiple splits of like working
which is what it takes, like that. But that's the distinction right there. Is like I feel like the way C9 has handled their rosters over the last like 5-6 years is if we are bringing in players to win right now, and you are not allowing your rosters the space to breathe, to develop, which comes with bringing in younger talent and accepting that you might have those off splits in the hopes that it builds over time.
But I feel like that's focusing on the mid lane position too much. Just the same way that FlyQuest shored up their jungle by bringing in an established jungler, C9 maybe was attempting to do that with mid, but at the same time they promoted Fudge up. Literally, Licorish's understudy, they used to do 1v1s together, promoted Fudge up and trusted him for so long. And he actually ended up, he was terrible in that lock-in tournament. I remember he was assigned to Gragas duty. Yep. And then literally in game 5 against TL, he does the Scion die to red buff strat. His arc was so great and slow. And a lot of C9 fans were calling for his head, and C9 believed in him, right? Or like Blabber starting from, academy and then being a coin flip player who no one trusted to eventually like 3 or 4 titles. I forget how many. So I will maybe grant that maybe in the mid lane position, but I don't think that's in the Berserker. Same thing too. Like he comes in his first split with LS and they don't make it to play.
But Berserker in that split pops off. Berserker from moment 1 was popping off.
But that's just, that's good fortune. That's a young player who was as good as.
Fine. But then you look at some of the other moves that they made, like outside of Berserker and Fudge, the rotating support role, the rotating mid role. Blabber's been there and say fine, but like when you're, for whatever reason, their hit rate is just not great given the expectation that they've set.
Perhaps. I don't think it's any different than any other team's rate.
Yeah, but Cloud9 has like, you're not making this volume of change without the expectation of it being first place or bust. In my mind, that's the I'm just the non C9 fan. That's the perception that I get from the org. And Paul, correct. I know I've cut you off a lot here, but correct me if I'm wrong. Like you've been the C9 hater longer than me, so.
I think the reason people are being hard on C9 right now for not going the build people up route in building up rookies is because it just worked out so extremely well for FlyQuest in TL. So obviously people are going to feel even more biased to try to be hard on C9 right now for not building up rookies and going the route they're going. By technicality, the mid laner they're bringing in is a rookie. He's just a Korean rookie. So they are trying something new, younger, and I would say honestly, out of all the moves they've made lately, is probably the longest term, other than, well, not really, because JoJo could have been long term if he just worked out, but it didn't. But better than the Diplex MNS one. I would say this one's actually long term looking at. Like if he works out and they cut him after they do decent, I would say then people could start to really be alarmed, like, hey, is this just a revolving door here at mid lane? And like unrealistic expectations? Because it is going to be pretty hard to win if you're constantly revolving the door on just mid lane and not looking at any of the stable pieces you've kept.
But let's shifting this to fans as well. Fans have also been calling for heads to roll at like the first opportunity that they can. Have they or have they not? Think about Fudge. Ever since Summit came in and then flamed out, and then Fudge comes back in, people have been wanting Fudge's head for a while. People have been questioning Blabber for quite a while, for about a year and a half now.
Fans are pretty stuck on keeping Blabber though.
Most of it, but in the last year, I'd say that turned, especially since the rumors last year of them possibly looking elsewhere.
Because most C9 fans I know after this season wanted to keep Blabber, like, completely. Did you feel that way, Jason? Or Chris?
I don't really engage too much with other C9. I'm a fan of C9 because I like them. From the sneaky era, I've always liked them, and that's just about the extent of it. So every year I'm looking for... My first priority is for them to do right by any player, because to me that's more important. This is not like my college football team or something where I have like this sort of, oh my god, I'm literally made of this team's loyalty, right? These are young kids that deserve like some respect and some privacy and stuff. So my first priority is always that, and then second is to win. And as long as they're like working towards both of those goals, I mean, first goal always try to achieve, and then second goal work towards it. As long as they're doing that in good faith, I'm as a C9 fan, I'm basically happy. I can't speak for other C9 fans what they want. They might be more or less, supportive of players and more or less supportive of the org. I think Blabber is pretty good and has been excellent at times. And the meta can, I mean, if Riot decides to buff Olaf or something for a skin, then we just win another title maybe on the spot. Like, I mean, it's hard for me to really speak too much without knowing the inner workings. And also, Blabber's skill set doesn't really matter. It's all about how they work together.
Yeah.
And that's what we've learned from. I mean, I wouldn't even say this past year. I think it's just almost any year. It's been. I mean, just look at when C9 won with Jensen, right? Jensen was playing Zillion mid to make sure the Berserker didn't die and carry. Jensen wasn't the best mid laner in the league mechanically or anything, but he was the exact right mid laner for that combination of making sure Blabber or Berserker didn't die. So he was excellent,
It's a tough that is a tough idea, because C9 is probably one of the more player friendly orgs. They had some weird stuff there that year with the Diplex MNS year. That was a weird one for them, because that was the only time I had really seen them, and I haven't seen them do it since. Or before then, ever kind of fumble player relations that bad, but also those two were so strange, and that was a strange situation. So I don't really blame them, or I don't hold that against them too bad, to be honest. I think they've built up too much good faith.
Yeah, and I will say I did watch the Sackdown interview. I don't know if you saw David with
with Blabber. Oh, with Sven.
It was Sven. Sven. They were talking about the M&S situation and everything. And they were saying, "Oh, it's kind of a weird thing that you guys, blah blah blah." He was on the team. And Sven said, "I will say, mechanically, he was the best player I've ever played with, or something along those lines." And I remember watching his streams, and this guy was doing. I mean, I'm kind of silver bronze, so the S key stopping and everything, but he was just his so crisp and everything, and he looked bored doing it. It was just he was breathing. But it's just, and I think maybe being that talented can make you that toxic as a follow-on effect. Because you're just I'm just so much better than everyone else. Then basically anyone's mistake is basically anyway. Not to defend M&S. I really don't like that guy, but
I guess here's
people blaming TL.
It makes sense.
People are flaming TL. Well, the thing that's happening in chat right now is basically people are saying that basically there's no good org, more or less, in the LCS.
Perhaps since franchising, unfortunately,
And
FlyQuest.
The reason why
FlyQuest wronged.
Not really anyway, but they didn't do anything
wrong.
I don't think they've done. No, they've never wronged anybody, to my knowledge.
No, but I mean they do have 2 EU imports and a Korean import. I mean they are.
I mean that's
the over majority, or
But I get the reason all this stems. No, but the reason all this stems from, I guess not the reason, but LS saying that Cloud9 is on their TSM arc right now, which is the feeling that I've had and been calling out for about a year now, that it regardless of whether the actions are the same, because obviously nobody's as bad as TSM was to their players, to their staff, to everybody else there. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the feeling of falling from grace, where it felt like 2 years ago, C9 had this image of, we are the premier org in the region. We will always be on top. But on top of that, we are your only hope at Worlds. And when the facade fell, it felt like it got more scrambled after that point. And it was just TSM after the legacy roster. It's just plug in as many pieces as you can to get it to work.
I guess. I mean, for so long they were the perennial second place team, always second to TL or TSM, and then they just had a few good years, and then suddenly it's I think the expectations by other community members just became too unfair to C9 as an org. It's just so strange.
I did see, this is where I disagree, and this is I guess where my biggest gripe within League has come with C9, is that TSM, when they were on top, felt like they could carry the mantle of the #1 organization in the LCS. And they had the fans to back it up. They carried literally everything. Viewership, you name it, popularity, it was all there. When TSM left, when CLG left, and it was C9's turn to pick up the mantle, and they started winning the trophies, and they started doing all the things that you need to do, all they did was shit on people on their way up. And it left a really sour taste in my mouth that I've not gotten over since. And I don't know if I ever will.
Why are you not okay with that level of like cockiness?
Because when you are on top, you should be lifting everybody else up with you. You are the example that people should be striving to match.
Please read APA's tweet. I mean, come on, bro. He's not lifting everyone else.
It's not.
No. It's not the players.
Honestly,
it's the orgs.
Oh, it's the
You guys are talking about the wrong people. It's not C9 fans who did it, or
No.
C9 the org. It's honestly the broadcast really hosed you guys.
Might be
the
the
broadcast was so
broadcast.
C9 what is it called? Biased, that like it did get to a point where like I said on this podcast while it was happening, I was saying I have a lot of people I know who are gonna quit watching this broadcast when it's over, because they're just like, screw this. Like they don't want me as a TSM fan or a CLG fan,
And they wouldn't fucking talk about 100 Thieves, even when we were making our run.
I can't blame C9 for that intrinsically. I do think that's like a broadcast problem. Like, I think that was just broadcast. And then for C9, I think it felt like you guys were talking a lot of trash, and it was like kind of, what would it be called? It was like overbearing for people. But the only reason is because there was no more TSM to the C9.
There was nobody to push back.
So like there was one voice at that point, and who is it? TL wasn't going to step up. TL never really got involved in trash talking.
No.
As an org entirely until APA now.
And even then, it's still just
really
APA. Like the org of TL doesn't really talk shit.
Yeah, I think it was just Cloud9 was trash talking into a void of people leaving, and there was nobody left to really yell back. I don't know.
Right. I mean, but now again, you just have, two teams that you're celebrating have at least multiple toxic. They're not toxic, but definitely very cocky.
I would call FlyQuest pretty toxic, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
Very much called the players toxic.
Literally, Bwipo admitted on stream that he needed to talk to his therapist and that he got diagnosed. I mean, like,
yeah,
EU, like that was unhinged. Like, so it's just, I mean, yeah, C9 might have had some times where they were, after perennially being second place, happy to be first place. I apologize for them on their behalf.
No, don't ever apologize on their behalf at all.
I'm being sarcastic. I don't actually give a shit. But you know what I mean? Like, it happened. Again, I don't know what it has to do with like mid turnover. I mean, some of these were people who left due to personal emergencies. Some were people who left because they themselves failed to be not toxic.
Because it's the same thing that I mentioned earlier of the 20 cuts. Of like these small things in various different areas add up. And it's not until you take a step back and see like the totality of all of them that that you get a perspective like, man, this really cut deep.
So I still think C9 is downtrending really hard.
You're just inferring a negative quality about someone based on outside perspective.
I'm not inferring. Like, you ask the majority of LCS fans, like, C9 is trending downward. Are you or are you not?
I have no idea. I mean, trending down.
Yes! The public perception of C9 is lowering from where it was a year or two ago. The height for rosters, like, even when you go to the C9 Reddit, they're like, I'm whelmed. It's like that's the perception now.
Memeing that you lost the offseason to ironically try to say you won it because you're taking it slow is not a great sign usually for teams. Now,
I mean,
it could work
unlike
out.
Your previous caller, I don't have like strong opinions on this new roster iteration. I think it'll be fun to watch, and I really enjoy most of the players. I have no idea who, and I think Thanatos was actually a pretty good pickup, and seems to like NA and seems to actually want to be here. I think people are already 10 times better than Bangs was when he left NA. So he actually. It
just seems like you guys are
English lessons with
downtrending,
like super renowned in the league, in the scene.
Do you feel like you guys are uptrending?
No, I mean, not based on our playoff performance, and I this roster move is net neutral for me because I don't have any data on it.
Fair enough.
And even if I saw him
I agree with that.
killing it on Yone or Orianna and a VOD, I wouldn't know how that relates to.
No,
synergy with
that's
the
fair,
race
and that's why
control.
I'm not making any comments on
It's
Loki, 'cause it's like
impossible to know.
you can't tell.
Korea
I-
tier
I-
2 has been destroyed. Like everybody gets pulled from there. So I don't even know if Korean tier 2 is really that great. It seems like it's just as good as anywhere else. Like there's a few great players and there's a ton of people just kind of sitting there, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, yeah, I'm neutral on the move. We'll see how. I'll just basically have to sit back and watch. I don't really have a choice in it. You know, it's gonna happen to me whether I like it or not. So I'll just sit back
Yeah.
and watch it.
Yeah.
But
Any
I'm
final
more just,
words? Any final things you want to add in there? I want to get Healy in here because I know he's throwing a fit in chat.
Nope, no worries. I'm all good.
Thank you for coming on,
Hope
man.
it was
I
worth
appreciate the debate. I know I can be a lot and overbearing at times, and my points don't always make sense. But I hope at least we had something constructive.
Oh yeah. No worries. You're good. Thanks for the time.
Cool. See you around, man.
See ya.
All right, let's shut Healy the fuck up.
I got pulled out my argument. What's up?
What up? What up? What do you want?
What are we shutting me up about? Like all of these points are so facetious and narrative driven. It's insane.
But we are a narrative and entertainment industry. The narrative is 90% of it.
This is crazy. I think like a lot of these points are just wrong. Like we've missed on most of our players when we consistently finish top 3 or 4.
I didn't say you missed on most of your players. I said you're making a lot of changes. It doesn't mean you're missing on most of your players.
How is that a bad thing? I was looking for the answer, a bad thing, and trying to. And
It's
while
not,
still,
but when the answers that you're looking for are immediate fixes rather than a longer term solution.
So immediate fixes like having 3 of our mid laners stick around for 2 years. That's an immediate fix.
What mid laner stuck around for 2 years?
Jensen, Niski.
Jensen was
and
one
fucking-
split. Niski, we're talking since 2021 here. In the last 4 years.
Niski, right?
In the last 4 years, because we've been building around Blabber. Other teams have swapped just as much as us.
I'm not saying they haven't, but other teams are not swapping with the expectation of winning the split.
We don't give a fuck about winning the split anymore. We've done that.
That's that's literally the TSM philosophy then. So you are going down the TSM spiral.
TSM, whether they want to know it or not.
That's
They're
literally
trending downward.
That's
the
literally
same thing
we've
as the
won so
argument I
much
did
we
about
don't give a fuck. We need international results, so we're gonna keep swapping until we can get international results. That's the TSM
Personally-
philosophy.
Personally, that's all I care about.
That's fine, but then admit that you're falling down the TSM rabbit hole.
No, because we're not treating our players like shit.
It's not about treating your players like shit. It's about the mentality that led TSM to go down that rabbit hole, which was brought on by the fans and that expectation as well. Whenever people started saying, we don't give a shit about TSM winning more titles, we want to make it out of group stage at Worlds, TSM made every change they could to blow it up to try and make it out of group stage.
When it's my expectation that they perform internationally. That's not what they want. It's very obvious when they're looking around and they're shopping around and they're taking young Korean talent. They want to build for the future. Because Berserker was supposed to be our future. It didn't pan out for whatever reason he wants to leave. But they obviously want young Korean talent to build out of. Because they don't want old washed Koreans coming in.
Why not young North American talent? Like C9 used to have.
I don't know. You mean like the young North American talent we've staked our entire organization on for the last 4 years, 5 years? How long has Blabber played?
Blabber's no longer young, my friend.
That's what I'm saying, though. We did that.
Yeah, and you built
We're
a
still
team.
staking it on our
So
NA.
the point is you're supposed to then bring in more younger talent. Like you keep bringing
I don't think
it.
That's the point, anyway.
I think it is because that's how our region
bringing
gets
in
better.
young-
You cannot keep relying on imports 24/7. Now, to be clear, this is not just C9. Every fucking team is guilty of this. Every team, including 100 Thieves,
So
including.
why are we getting singled out like we're the devil?
I just hate you guys.
every
Period.
team.
So like that's just
That's
me.
fair. You can hate us, but like don't push blanketly wrong fucking propaganda-esque fucking points. The truth
The
of the
only
matter
point he
is,
made was
we
you guys
have
have a revolving
always,
door at mid.
That's all I said. That was my point from the beginning. Is you have a revolving door mid. I didn't
and
criticize
PL's had
any,
a revolving door at ADC, and
which
y'all are
I
biased by the
have
revolve
called
range turn.
out. Which
So
I
why
have,
are we getting shit for it?
because you're C9 and I'm going to call it out more because I do that.
And because your revolving door is doing worse than everybody else
And also,
right now.
and you
Yeah,
guys are the only one.
currently.
You guys are the only
Last
ones that are
six
active on social media like that. So you're the only ones that I can actually punch back against.
True.
I'm sorry. That's how this
or-
shit works. Our drama between the two of us is what gets us talked about in the public setting. You don't want people to not give a shit and not say anything.
But David, shouldn't you be lifting up these other organizations and making
I do.
them better?
The second
and
we go
trying
to
interact with them?
Worlds, I push for everybody.
Hey,
You
He
cannot
would have
deny
done
that.
that if you made it.
But why aren't you making
Yep.
them better?
He would have done it if you
The
made
second
it.
you make international, I am.
Second
I
you
do.
Make it.
So
You
are
literally
only
can't say that I don't.
success then? Because you're only doing it at internationals?
Yes, because once we go domestically, I have a team to care about myself. That is my job as a fan, to care about my team, and then
if
once
you're
my team
supposed
is
to care
gone.
about only your org, why aren't you lifting everyone else up? Like you said C9 should be doing, because we just shit on everyone else on our way up.
Because here's the line. You started shitting on people once we got to that international phase. Once we got to the international phase, the message was, quote, "We are your only hope. Don't care about the other two."
Everyone else was eliminated. When
No,
everyone
this
else
was directly after C9 won their fucking LCS title in a stadium where Fudge said it to everybody. That don't care about the other two teams. We are your hope. That is the message. I would never
That's
in a
not
million.
C9.
I could talk so much shit as I have against C9 all year. We could have won the LCS and you guys could have came to Worlds with us. And you know what I would have done when I'm up there? You know what? We're all one region now. We may have talked our shit. We may have had our fun during the split, but we are now North America when we step on that international stage. We are fucking brothers, and I will do what I can to help you out.
Hard agree with that.
Cons
You
with.
know I hard agree with that.
Yeah, so what are
I
you
think-
calling me out for on that
I
thing?
kind of liked what Fudge said, to be honest.
I didn't. That pissed me off.
I think it's good,
It
trash
is
talk.
Our fault when year after year we are the only North American team to ever get out of
FlyQuest.
groups more than once.
NRG.
More than once.
Oh, I'm
More
sorry.
than once.
FlyQuest under new ownership did it in their first time that they made Worlds. So that's good for them. NRG, may they rest in peace, did it on their first try.
Wait, but we're talking historically here, no?
I mean, I'm talking since
So-
like in the 2021 era.
How many
post
times
COVID.
did C9 make it out of groups?
It's been
Every
like 4 or 5 now.
I mean, well,
We're
since
the only team to do it more than once. We're the only team to ever beat a Korean
Sure.
team in a best of 5.
okay, let's ignore anything pre 2020 because that's now 5 years ago, and I'm sorry, but that's no longer relevant. So 2020 on, okay, you guys made it out once, correct? 2021.
We did it out in 2020. I'm not saying these other
Was it 20
orgs
no,
aren't bad for that. But if
It
we're
was no,
arguing
it was only 2021. 2020, you did not make it out.
2021, whatever the perks year was.
Yeah, so you made it out once,
You know what?
FlyQuest made it out once, NRG made it out once. In recent history, it is not C9 as the only hope.
And we stopped branding like that. Crazy how that works, right?
You were branding that in 2022, motherfucker.
Because at that point we still were. We still were the only team doing it.
Okay, you didn't get the chance to brand it this year because you didn't fucking make it.
Yeah, and that's just
So no, you can't use that. You can't use this year as an argument.
Holy shit. Will you listen to my entire point? That the branding stopped 2022, right?
I don't.
Agreed, right?
2023, I remember they tweeted out the picture of like the airplanes coming at, which I think was like NA's only hope. But I will have to double check that. I don't want to.
That was like our title. That's a title that we earned by being that consistently. You know, that's like a title you earned. That wasn't something that we created.
Fair.
That was something we were given. So shouldn't we use that insane branding?
I mean, I
'Cause
agree.
that's insane.
I agree. You were fine to use it up until a point, but now, as long as it's not going to be used going forward,
And
then I
now
got no
we've
problem with it. Then that's fine. I will agree
Now
to that
just
point.
have-
I don't
Definitely
remember us
agree,
using
yeah.
it in 2023. We just couldn't use it this year. Like,
It is tough. You can't use it anymore. I looked.
Yeah.
You guys have made out of group 6 times. Basically, all of them were 2013 through 2017, and then you got out in 2021 or 2020.
we
and
shouldn't
it's
even have gone
kinda
out that
over.
year if we're gonna be honest with ourselves.
Yeah, that was your worst year, but it is what
But
it is.
I mean,
It
hey,
counts.
you
If we
still
would've
it
talked
still
about
counts. Does not
2020 MSI, we would have won.
does not matter. At the end of the day, you guys got out of groups. I don't care how it happens.
I
You
think
got out.
though,
Yep.
I know
You get out, you get
C9
out,
fans
it's fine.
hate LS, so they're gonna hate what he said. But him saying you guys are on the TSM trajectory was like
I don't think
genuinely one of the
necessarily wrong,
funniest and
but I
probably
think
right ideas of revolving door around your best player. Just not being able to find anything, bringing in old players that you've previously had as well, trying to get back to former glory with new
I think bringing
younger
Sven
players.
back is like a good decision. And
I
it's gonna pan
agree.
out.
I said that the second he got signed. Is like I think this is probably going to be the best decision they could have made. Now,
Ben and Vulcan already have history. We get to take a young Korean mid laner, mold him however we want him. We know he can play with Blabber. We know Vulcan and Sven can play with Blabber. Vulcan looked his best with Sven.
doesn't this
as
sound
well.
like taking a young jungler and top side alongside
Yeah, except we're
two?
not an asshole org,
Gosh.
right? And we care about our players.
I
Right?
obviously am not going to
Oh,
disagree
that-
with that part, but like it's literally. Wait, now that I think about it, this is literally
You can
the
agree
20.
that it's different, though,
This is the
right?
2021 or 2020
Well, there also
TSM
is a
experiment.
big difference too. They'll never have 7 LCS titles because that's over
You're
now.
right.
So
We can't have 7 LCS titles.
yeah,
You know
that's-
what though? You'll never have more America's titles than we're gonna have.
Well, we'll have the same for probably the next 20 years.
I don't think
I don't
that's
see
true.
you guys winning one.
We're the kings of spring.
Dude, Sven and Vulcan, that is a power bottom lane. I mean,
when you're
you would
talking
have
about,
told
like,
me this in
short-
2016 when I was graduating high school.
Oh,
I might
even
have
in
gone.
2021 or
That's
2023.
not bad.
too. We won with them in 2022, Paul. Wasn't
Well,
that our bottom?
no.
Or was it
Sven?
2021?
That was Sven Berserker 2022. 2021 was the Perks, Sven, Vulcan, Blabber, Fudge.
Listen. Okay, real quick to address chat. TSM fan chirping is absolutely fucking acceptable. They're the goats of the region.
Yeah.
And if anyone thinks otherwise, talk to a wall. Because I just had this argument with Con where I had to add the disclaimer as soon as TSM and COG left, we were the goats of the region.
And the problem was, I don't think when you are alone at the top, it is a full other responsibility than what
It is
C9
not
had.
our responsibility to pick up.
But it's one of those that it falls in your lap. And it's unfortunate that, you have to carry the mantle, but I also think like C9 as a brand does not do well as the lone number one team in a region.
This is a curveball,
It's not
but
good.
I think I blame TL a lot.
So do I. Oh, 100%.
I think TL should have been the ones. Like,
I'm
to
so
be
down
honest,
for
you
TL
shouldn't
hate.
have a dead org TSM fan being the only person who will loudly clap back at C9 fans. And Khan also does it too, and he's a dead org CLG fan. But TL fans, I don't feel like they clap back
No,
as good as they should.
not at all.
And I don't really know TL fans that often.
Neither do
Talking
I.
up on, can I respond to him real quick as well?
What'd he say?
See, Tom Brady go to the NFL. He doesn't stop being the go to the NFL. There wasn't another fucking quarterback with 5 fucking rings to compete with his.
Well, Mahomes will be approaching that territory, but
If Tom Brady leaves the league and some motherfucker is on his heels, he's now the greatest player in that league at the time.
He's the
GOAT is
GOAT.
like a facetious term at this point. It's no longer the acronym greatest of all time.
yeah,
just
it's overplayed, it's overused. I don't know.
C9
Well, it's
is
the
the best org in the league, unarguably at this
GOAT
point.
of the current moment. Call him the GOT Cub.
You know what we didn't do, by the way? We didn't abandon a dying region. We didn't sell out and try to move to the LPL and fail. And we didn't give up on North Americans and North American fans.
And you didn't have an owner that wants fuck all to do with League of Legends, but
Exactly. and we care about our players, and we make sure our players can go somewhere where they can prosper, even if it's our direct fucking rivals, like TL getting Jensen and beating our ass with them in the finals.
The thing that I will say about like this whole thing, and I think Paul and I had this discussion a bit, or no, I think it was Cloud9 that talked about it, of like the personality of fandoms in this league. Because like that's ultimately what a lot of this narrative stuff is. Like at the end of the day, if C9 wins, C9 wins. If TL wins, TL wins. It's about the fans and how they celebrate it and how much you talk about it on social media. That makes the moment as fun as it is. It's the water cooler talk that we all care about. It's the reason why sports are so entertaining beyond just the game. It's talking about it afterwards. And to Paul's point, I don't think there's enough TL fans for that conversation to really flow well whenever they're trying to be at the top. For Cloud9 fans, you guys have been the antithesis to the loud people the entire time. The whole C9 brand was that we were not the whole C9 brand, but like it was pseudo like, hey, we're not the obnoxious assholes of TSM and we're not the real nerds of CLG. We're the Luigis. We're the all around like good guys. And when you had to be on top, there's a certain level of ego that has to come with that. And you didn't have anybody to push you to that extent, which is a fault of the people around you, sure. But then you guys also have to find a way to navigate it. And I just don't think anybody ever did. Now, I think we're entering a new era of League where luckily C9 fans have, whether it's just me or whether it's, other people around, you have somebody to bounce off of now, which is good. FlyQuest and TL can battle each other for building a fandom, period.
I think
Is it just
Fly.
did his microphone die at the end there? Or was that
No,
the end
no.
of your point?
That was just the end of his point. But
Yeah.
I think TL is not TL, Fly is the one who's actually going to be like interesting.
Fly's on
Like-
the hot seat right now. Fly needs to put
Yeah.
up or shut up as far as
Which is good. We need
making
that.
it work. Yeah.
Fly's the first team, I'll say this, since I would say 2020, 2020 to be honest, TSM, that I've felt like a team actually embodies like the old Bay Life, like life doesn't matter mentality. We're just gonna keep winning, but they do it in their own way. Like it's way different. They are a lot more.
They're a lot
Like,
cooler
they're just over-
and more nonchalant about it.
Yeah.
Nah, they're kind of bigger
No,
or just as big assholes, to be honest, which I kind of like.
The personalities are bigger. I don't get the brand perception that they're
The
assholes.
brand isn't bigger for sure.
Well, not bigger.
Fly-
I mean, like if we're talking, like the TSM brand was about like we're gonna be loud and obnoxious, and
and the
FlyQuest
it's
is
just
not
the Fly
that.
players.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
the Fly, which is
just
why I'm
players.
curious to see how they how does Fly take this year, because you are never gonna get a better
It's way
opportunity than
different
this.
from their branding,
Yeah,
so it's gonna be
I
hard.
like the branding shift that they did, but there's kind of a fundamental problem with being, hey, we're the charity org. We're gonna keep being the charity org. What do you mean
Yeah.
we did charity? We never did that. We're never gonna do that again. We don't even talk about it anymore.
well, no, they did.
you
To their
So
credit,
we
they
also
were
see
very
on this
vocal about the
blog,
charity efforts during
Branded
Worlds.
motherfucker.
They did a lot
They
of
keep doing charity and be annoying.
they
Have you seen
did.
Bills fans?
yeah, that's true.
Bills
it
fans
was-
do plenty of charity, and they won't shut up when they win a game.
Funny when Fly just called ice on Jose Diodo. I thought that was really cool of them.
They called ice on him. I don't know this
They were
joke.
building their whole brand kind of around him and being like the more Spanish and Southern American centric org,
FlyQuest Espanol.
and then it just stopped.
Well, that's
Jose
because
Diodo
the new owners came in.
Yeah, but it was really funny, and it was a really funny.
Oh, there's a
heel
whole
turn.
meme to it too, because the owner that came in was on Trump's cabinet, I believe. So it makes sense
And
that
so
he
a
would
lot
want
of
him
people were
deported.
Like, oh yeah, he called ice on Jose. They fucking deported his ass.
That is pretty good.
But I mean,
But they stand a chance. The way their players talk, actually,
I'm so here for it. I'm so here to
sounds.
shut Whippo the fuck up with Thanatos this season.
Yes, and we need something like that. I think this is finally going to be that.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
good rivalry thing.
I'm curious,
And-
who do you like from the C9 fan point of view? You know, you guys had the rivalry with TSM for a long time, but now they're gone. Like, what's your perception on like where you get the most amount of enjoyment out of winning, but also like the biggest rivalry for you?
So the way I've been equating it now is that back in the day, the big three, right, used to be TSM, C9, CLG, and at the top was undoubtedly TSM, right?
Yeah.
I think we've taken that position, and now it's FlyQuest TL, and we're kind of the big brother being like, yeah, you guys are having fun, but just wait.
You don't think
There
100 Thieves
isn't
is up there
a-
at all?
100 who? 100 guest slot? No.
There isn't really a rivalry like the El Clasico, is there?
No, FlyQuest and
100
TL is starting to build up that way, and 100 Thieves C9 is just a narrative one from my point of view, but it's not like actually.
Because TSM CLG got people like watching in the regular season.
Yeah.
Like that was a big deal. I mean, there were big bets going on and stuff.
But I do think it is on orgs and players and a little bit of fans' onus to build these rivalries, because rivalries are nothing but good for sport.
So what
There's
you're
never been a
saying-
rivalry you'll see that's been like, yeah, I don't like that that's a rivalry. Stop being like that.
So what you're saying is it's a good thing that I'm pissing off C9 fans.
I think it's a great thing, and I love interacting with it. And as much as I come on here ranting and raving and be like, what the fuck are you talking about? I respect the hustle. And you know I do.
Oh, I know, which is why I love having you on here, because like I know that you and I can get into a heated argument, but then still queue up
Hey,
solo
Colin.
queue afterwards.
Colin kind of boomed me with that one.
Chat said C900 Thieves is only a rivalry because we beef with David.
Fucking Colin said Honduras versus El Salvador is a bad rivalry. That's real. You're right. You got me there, Colin.
Yeah.
I'll admit. You finally won a point.
That one's
against me.
probably bad.
I would like to think that 100 Thieves C9 could eventually become a decent rivalry.
I mean, if you guys survive relegation, maybe.
In your guest slot.
I cannot. I need Worlds to end. I need Worlds to
It is
end tomorrow so I
crazy.
can fucking find out whether it's true or not.
It's crazy to try to get me to become a 100 Thieves fan if you guys are in the guest
No,
slot.
dude, I'm not even gonna try. If we're in the guest slot, I'm not even gonna try. Okay,
Like,
I'm not.
At that point, I might as well just hitch my little bandwagon to FlyQuest and call it a year.
Congrats, you're dealing with exactly what I was dealing with when this whole
What
shit
about
was going down, and people were like, "Oh, you're gonna go to TL." It's like, dude.
Well, you know, it's really gonna pain me to the fact that because my team left, I get to pick the championship winning team with a good young roster. But it doesn't hurt at all actually, so I'm just gonna do that.
All right, so next step is we get Papa Smithy on the crossover podcast, okay?
Oh gosh.
And then he tells you something straight to your face,
No.
and then it turns out to be completely untrue in a year.
I wouldn't even want to talk to him if I became whatever team I end up liking. I don't want to talk to anybody involved with that team ever. Don't follow me on Twitter. Don't talk to me. Just
my
do your
God.
job and keep the team.
Oh
That's-
god,
That's all I
man,
ask.
it's been a wild 5 hours on social media. This has
I
been
Yeah,
can't
fun.
wait to
well,
wake
for
up
you.
to like TSM is now the South American rep in Americas or some shit.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, look, you got to let me get this out because in 24 hours, I will like not be on social media all that much. So like, I gotta get this out now while I can, because then what's gonna happen is 100 Thieves bot lane is gonna get announced. C9 fans are gonna start clapping back, and I'm gonna be 5 Mai Tais deep with my ass in the sand, not paying any attention.
Could you imagine if the LLA rep for Americas is just LTSM? They just write that. LTSM coming in.
Oh god.
It's kind of Spanish.
No, what you do is there a way to make T? Is there like a phonetic, like a Spanish phonetic version of TSM? Like the T,
there
like
an S?
no, like you know how like
mean,
double L can be a Y.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. To be honest.
TSAM.
TSAM. Yes.
All I know is you really don't want an Australian TSM. When they short that one to all TSM, you don't want to be around.
Alex said, "Welcome back as a guest is L Immortals." Fuck off.
TSM
Fuck
Astral
off.
Esports. That's so funny. Could you imagine TSV?
TSM.
Yeah, TSV. They're here.
Los Immortales.
The funny thing is, all those teams would do a name change to be the LLA rep, and you'd still have Dignitas taking that redacted name.
I can't believe they haven't changed on that shit yet. Come on.
Everyone else is changing their name just to get a slot, and Dig goes, "We're fine. What's the matter with you, losers?"
Don't want to kill ourselves. It's okay.
Yeah. Sucks to be you. Our name's sick.
I mean, they're just preparing people for what it's like to be a Dignitas. And
Their name is sick. That's why they're going to the company.
Oh,
man.
Oh no. Gosh, gee. And thoughts on the Shopify roster? I think it's would have been great a few years ago. I don't know what to tell people. Genuinely though, if you do add
Disguise talk.
Berserker, isn't like Shopify kind of decent?
Oh my god. That's gold. Disguise taco. Oh my god.
Disguised Taco would be insane.
That would be so fucking hilarious.
Can we just okay, I got an idea. It's TSM, but it's Team Solo Margarita. We are cooking now.
No.
We're actually in a place.
No. It's,
I can talk
no,
myself into
no,
this.
TSM's got to be tequila, sangria, and
Margaritas.
Hell?
nah, it's got to rhyme. Tequila, sangria, and
Oh, it's got to rhyme.
sangria, or tequila, sangria, mamacita, or I don't know.
Oh my god.
Oh, I'm trying to think of something. God damn it. Tequila.
Sombrero Maracas. Not even trying. Just throwing them out.
Oh, it's sangria Spanish. Exactly. That's why it would be perfect because TSM wouldn't know any
There's
better.
a dartboard cut up into like 3 different sections of TS and M, and you just throw shit at it.
Oh god. We aren't racist, right? No, absolutely not.
No, this is linguistics.
Yeah.
We're good.
Oh man.
We're building the ultimate team. I don't know about y'all losing.
I'm trying to think of what the ultimate white name team or what like white person team name would be.
Cloud9.
Done. Done. Holy shit.
I want you to know I'm in the doghouse with my e-girl now because I decided to be on this shit.
I'm in the doghouse with my real girl because I forgot about the podcast.
Hey, she's a
Well,
real girl.
I'm not in the doghouse, so I don't have anything to say.
Yeah, but you have a kid coming up, so your life's already fucked.
Yeah.
It is kind of over. Although I have been informed
How's
my
that car?
taxes will be less.
Yes. That is the one nice thing.
That's
How's
good.
that car?
The car.
Speaking of deporting
well,
people,
I won't say this on podcast. I don't want to say it on air how everything went, but it's going well. I don't want to air this one out.
Oh,
Touchy subject. I haven't talked to you since it happened, Dave.
oh God.
I'm not gonna say it on podcast, but I am fixing the car situation. I've won.
Nice. All right. I will end the podcast here. For everybody that tuned in, thank you for coming on out. For C9 fans, just know I love bantering with you as always. Same time,
2020
same.
C9 wins MSI.
What?
2020 C9 wins MSI.
True.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Is there anything else that we have to cover? World's opening ceremony. Since I won't get the chance to talk about it, calling it now. Going to be majority Arcane. Just be ready. World's finals is going to be TSM versus Weibo. Weibo is going to beat, or not TSM. Jesus Christ, it's going to be T1 versus Weibo. I think Weibo is going to beat T1, and China is going to win their World's title again. And I can't really think of anything else. I don't know. All right. That's it. I'll see you all. You'll see me on different videos on both YouTube and TikTok, but in terms of you seeing me live, you will not see me until after Worlds. So I'll catch you all then. See ya.